They
I saw an old phone book and it had
Plus
just
eight
down
records.
the street was
Yeah.
plus 8 records.
Yeah, so you're like at the home, eh?
crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Hi and hello and salut and bienvenue to another episode of It's Past My Bedtime, Dude, with me, Tanya. Every other week, you get to hear me confront creators within techno and around whose work has been keeping me up past my bedtime so I can find out what they're doing that's sending me in a hole of Googling and YouTubing and listening to their stuff over and over and over again. Today, I'm excited to hassle Space 92, a force in dance music straddling the line between mainstream techno and underground classic techno. Coming to us all the way from France, Space 92, also probably known to his family as Mathieu, has experienced a fast and meteoric rise. No pun intended there. All 3 tracks on his latest EP, Gravity, have been sitting at the top of Beatport's charts for weeks, and he's been touring non-stop around the world in support of it. Space 92 is a recurring collaborator with Oliver Heldens, a massively successful techno project from Oliver Heldens, High-Low, and fun fact, one of his early releases, a collaboration with the Yellowheads called Afterlife, was in the first set I ever played live to an audience. Not that that matters to you, but this was a bit surreal. We had this conversation in London, Ontario, after his show at Rum Runners. He showed up to London right after an extended set in Montreal, and a few days before that, he was in Brazil. Tough schedule, but I don't think anything was compromised. Maybe his health. I don't know. It was a spectacular set, a really big and ambitious set in an intimate setting. Like most of his music, the sound is huge and all-consuming. The crowd was insane, the energy was crazy. But once they were all gone, it was around 3 a.m. The venue was empty. It was just myself, my friend Nick, Space 92, and his very, very stylish manager. We talked about grappling with mainstream success, finding inspiration while touring, what's changing in techno, and how the hell France continues to produce some of the most renowned dance music artists, regardless of subgenre. Say hi to Space 92.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel coming off the stage?
Was really cool, to be honest. I didn't expect, to be honest, what to attempt,
Yeah.
know, with the city and everything, because it was my very first time here.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really surprised that there were a lot of people, know my music and everything, so it was really cool.
It was really cool. It was a great show. With Montreal compared to here, how was the vibe?
I think the whole Canada there is a really big energy that I really like, especially, like in Montreal, in Toronto, and here I had a really good experience, with the crowd. My music, there is a lot of build-ups, before the drops and everything, and I really like to see the people reaction and the hands in the air, and stuff like this, so I really like to feel this kind of energy, and in Canada I really feel it, and I really enjoy to perform in this country, to be honest. There is other countries where the feeling is not the same, and you can't really feel as here.
Mm-hmm.
The build up,
Yes.
So that's why I really enjoy to play in this country, to be honest.
I love to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. That's amazing. And we talked about how you're the biggest techno act really right now. We have to ask, this is a show dedicated to techno. What is techno to you, and how do you define techno?
Oh, to be honest, I think techno is there is a lot of direction to get into the techno music, because there is so many subgenres to the techno music. I come from back in the days, I think in 2008 or 2009 on techno minimal stuff, especially the techno minimal from Berlin, who was really popular at this time. And then maybe a couple of years later, there were a really big vibe of of slow techno beats, around 124 BPM or something like this, with straight techno like highway, without this kind of build-ups and stuff like that. And right now there is a new generation of techno who mix a lot of genres together, and for myself, my music is a mix of techno of the underground side that I got during the years, and also like trance and stuff like this, emotional stuff. So it's really interesting. The techno is really interesting right now, because it's going on very like different directions, and for example, in the set, you can play some really melancholic stuff, with hard beats, but also, with stray stuff, so there is a lot of freedom in techno at the moment, I think.
I love that you're talking about all the different subgenres and where techno is moving in different places right now, because I think at least in North America, I think the Berlin scene is getting attention here now, and everyone thinks of Berghain when they think of techno. They just they think of Kit Kat, like that's what they're thinking about. And there's so much more. There's a whole world outside of Berlin.
Exactly.
And you're bringing a lot of that as well. So it's really great to hear you.
Yeah. To be honest, a lot of people think the techno like castle is in Germany. In fact, in Germany there is a big audience for this kind of music, and also with the statistics, from Spotify and everything, we see that. For my case, Germany is the number one country listening this music, but it's also about like the editorial playlist on Spotify. The reaching people are coming from Germany at the first place, but right now, I see there is a lot of new upcoming countries who listen more and more techno, and especially Canada is in the top 10 of the countries who listen my music. So I'm really happy with this, and the whole world is getting into, Asia is getting into, South America is really huge with techno at the moment, and especially with techno melodic stuff. So that's really interesting, and in all the countries that you can travel, you feel all the time, something a little bit special, something different from the other countries that you can travel on. So that's really interesting. It's not like a routine; it's always changing. But still, the music is still connecting with the people, and they still feel the same energy. All the time I try my best, to spread the same energy, the same positive vibe with a lot of energy, to keep the people dancing. That's my aim.
Ultimately, every culture in every country kind of provides something different to your music.
It's reunite all together,
Yeah, that's cool. And you're playing, I understand, Ultra Music Festival this year, which is incredible. Congratulations. That's a huge stage for techno as a whole
there
as
is.
Well.
And right now, Ultra is getting big, and there is a lot of... Ultra is doing really well in all around the world, they are doing editions all around the world. And I'm really happy to be a part of Miami, because Miami is the main, it's the central stuff. So I'm really happy for that. I'm really looking forward. That's going to be a big step. And
if we go back a couple of years, techno was not really on the lineups of these big festivals,
not at all.
At least in North America, right?
Yeah.
We didn't see it at all, but now we're seeing more and more of it. What do you think is
I think techno got popular with social networks also, because there was a lot of popular tracks who was put on viral videos, and I think a lot of the new generation knew more about techno, because in the past techno was for the old guys who had a really big background, and it was more like a small audience. Right now with internet and the social medias and everything, it's rapidly spreading, into the whole world with different kind of contents, for dance, for laughing videos, with techno inside. So I think all this movement is getting the music more popular, and also the techno, as I said just before, is changing, and there is a mix of a lot of influences right now, and it's getting more mainstream. You know what I mean? So the melodies are more there. You know, in the past, in the techno, it was only a kick and the bass and a couple of percussions. Right now, techno is more about, you know, some melodies, build-ups, also vocals and stuff like this. So I think it's getting more mainstream, you know, and also with the statistics, we can see that techno right now, you know, is listened by a lot of people, you know. In my case, there is all the time when I'm releasing something, it's reaching millions and millions of streams, you know, and I didn't expect that at all, you know, but I realized that you can listen on the car, you know, you can listen on the parties, you know, you can listen everywhere, you know, because there is still emotional stuff inside, and the people can recognize this, you know, because it's not too complex. And for my case, for my music, I try all the time to build, you know, like memorable melodies, you know, to keep it in the mind, you know, so simple stuff.
It connects with people in different ways. And there's like two thoughts I have from that. One is like there's two camps on techno right now, where there's one group of fans that are really excited about how accessible techno is becoming and their favorite artists. They can see more of them. The community is getting better or bigger. And then there's another camp which feels a little bit afraid of the main stage, techno going to the main stage, because they feel main stage means mainstream means the genre is going to die. What's your take on that? Do you think there's a risk there, or are you more optimistic about the opportunities?
It's a big question, you know, because for my case, when I started to produce my music, I didn't realize that I was doing a little bit of techno and trance. And when I saw that people like David Guetta or maybe Hardwell or Armin van Buuren was playing my music, you know, then I was like... I don't know, you know, I was a little bit, you know, lost with this, but I realized that the EDM is less popular right now. I mean, the EDM guys are playing more and more techno stuff at the moment, you know.
Future Rave.
Yeah.
That thing's happening,
you know,
right?
They knew that there is something new, because they was turning around too much for me, you know, for a long time into the same thing, and the people are getting tired of this. So I think they want to renew, and with this there is like a kind of a mixture between the genres, and for some people who are like really techno guys, you know, and don't want to open the eyes to new directions, of course they will say that the techno is killing with all the mainstream stuff. In my case, I think for my point of view and for what I try to do, it's to stay in the middle. I mean, I want to connect to the people, and I want to have something memorable, you know, with melodies and everything, you know, and that's really important for me, because it's kind of my background, you know, with Stefan Bodzin and all these guys, Telofus, you know, like Artbat and all these guys, and but I don't try to be mainstream, you know. I just try to be myself, and what I know from what I'm doing at the moment, it's I'm in the middle of underground and middle of the mainstream, and I think it's really important to stay in this way and don't go too much to the mainstream side. I mean, everyone is up to make what they like, you know, but for me it's really important to still keep all the background with underground stuff that I got, you know what I mean? So, and I really love to play classic records with techno, you know, and fast beats and stuff like this. So I think it will stay in my veins for the rest of my life. So in my case, I will stay, you know.
We're happy to hear that. The middle, it's like you can connect the underground, but you can still bring in those kids as well.
But to be honest, I don't know where the genre where the music will go, you know, to be honest. I know at the moment in Europe, like hard techno beats are really became really famous.
Yeah.
And right now the music is played faster and faster.
Yes. We're at like
Europe.
160 BPM in Europe, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
But it's always like, it's funny, you know, because in Brazil a couple of days ago they are not used to this kind of speed, you know, so I had to play slower. And I think also I was talking with Adam Bayer, you know, and he told me in America the people you don't have to play fast as it's in Europe at the moment. They like when it's groovy and when it's melodic, you know. So it's always depend on the country, to be honest.
Yeah. That's really fun though. Like I like getting to see the different countries and what's working there and what their vibe is.
when you travel, and you keep all these kind of different cultures from the countries, you can make a mixture in your mind, for your upcoming stuff.
Yeah.
To get like a mixture of all the feelings that you got in different countries. Try all with the aim to be in the middle.
Yes.
Everywhere.
I like that philosophy. And with we were talking about earlier, you dropped Gravity EP, your newest EP, 3 tracks, all great. Reactor, my favorite. I absolutely love that one. Through Gravity EP and through your music, you have a sound and you have your own sound. But there's also these references to those like classic techno records. I can hear some of that, what people maybe want to dub the future rave stuff or like the big room techno, but I can hear the Detroit techno. I can hear the underground acid as well.
Yes.
And so Reactor has that trance type synth which like dives into this really distorted, crazy synth that's awesome. And then on Cooper you have that classic like acid techno, Detroit. It reminds me, like the haunted melodies kind of remind me of Jeff Mills kind of vibe. Yeah. I get that. When you're making music, do you intentionally set out to do that, or does it just happen?
No, to be honest, it's it came like this. It's taking me a long time to produce and to get the ideas. But most of the time, what I'm doing is I listen a set from another guy, random set. I just play maybe at 30 minutes, and I look around, and I try to keep some ideas, and yeah, I think there is also all the background, who come in the production and make the things happening,
Your trajectory, the way how the Space 92 project came about, it sort of is different from a lot of other producers in that you didn't really have a chance to go out and DJ to promote or test the tracks. It sort of happened during the pandemic, during lockdowns. How has that journey been like? And then coming out of the pandemic, playing your first show, already having built this fan base and people knowing Space 92 already. What was that like?
It was really weird, because I had a lot of time, to create a lot of sounds. That was the good point. So when I started, I had a chance to give to the people, a lot of like records that I made. But it was a little bit weird because I never tested before. So I released a lot of things and I had to drop them, and see how it works. And with a big surprise, it was working so well. So I was really happy with this. And yeah. Like months after months, I was getting to interesting things.
Yeah. And you've been producing for about a decade now, and Space 92 has sort of come in at this sort of tail end part of it. For I think fans listening and a lot of people, they feel Space 92 maybe was like this overnight success. It just came out of nowhere and like you're exploding and it's like amazing and so successful. Do you feel like it was an overnight success yourself, or does it feel like it was this work in progress that finally like it had this break?
I think there is the work background, but I had a lot of luck, to find accidentally my sound, because it was not thinking before. I didn't think about this before, I just realized that I made a remix from the Twins Project guys, Bass in Your Face. And I was like, okay, this is totally different from the other guys, so let's see how it works. And it became number one. So at this point, I was like, okay, I'm not stupid, so I will follow this way, But I to be honest, I didn't realize. I just made the track by myself with all the background that I had, and the aim was to bring the biggest energy as I can. And I think, there is all the background, who kept
all the education is there.
I think so.
It comes out though.
It's taking a long time to realize that it took me a long time to realize that I need to have my own style.
Yeah, and it comes out nicely though, because you have that background, and then Space 92 sounds so refined and like so well done right off the bat. So that's awesome. Weird question, but I understand you're from Toulouse. You're from southern France. Sunny, warm, beautiful. Not what you think of when you think of techno. Techno is the dark, grimy thing, not the sunny, beautiful place. So is the city inspire you in some way with techno, or where does the inspiration for the music come from?
In Toulouse?
Yes.
Um, in the past, Toulouse was they had a really big scene, with a lot of really mythic clubs and festival. During maybe 2015 and 2019, there were a lot of problems. They closed a lot of venues and everything. But after the COVID, they rebuilt a lot of things and a lot of really good festivals. And I don't see the techno as the dark side as it was in the past. I see it more brighter at the moment, with all this change of the genres, you know what I mean? It's keeping with the open airs and things like this, I think the image of techno change in a really sunny way. But to be honest, for Toulouse, sadly, I'm not often in Toulouse so much, so it's not inspiring me at all.
You're getting inspiration from London, Ontario.
Yes, exactly.
Question I think a lot of people have. I think people, when they start getting into EDM, ultimately one of the questions they have is, what's going on in France and why are there so many amazing producers coming out of France EDM? Like every corner of France is turning out some amazing producer. What is it? What's going on in France?
I don't know, to be honest, but I'm really proud to be French, because in fact there is a lot of really amazing artists there. And I spoke with Tony Romero, which is a French guy on the house side, of music yesterday. And yeah, he told me there is a lot of good producers in France at the moment. That's really I am really proud, to have all these amazing artists, because in other countries, like especially in Italy, they have also really big producers also. But I have to say, in France, at the moment we have a lot of upcoming great stuff, and also back in the days, guys, who are legends, as Laurent Garnier and these kind of people, so that I don't know what's going on with France, but to be honest, there is something special there.
What did they feed you guys when you were growing up? I don't know. They were something in the water.
The funny thing is, all the time when I'm listening interviews from French guys, they all say that they listen all kind of music, classical, rock, pop, and stuff like that. So not especially electronic at the first time, but also rap music, and it's I don't know, it's came later, when we were teenagers, start going outside, and discovering the clubbing scene.
Okay, well we're gonna get to the bottom of that mystery at some point, but maybe it is just the diversity of what they're listening to initially, and then moving into electronic music afterwards. We were talking about this earlier before your show. Is you have a label maybe coming out this year, end of year, next year. It's been in the talks. What can you tell us about that?
I was working on the idea to build a label. It took me 1 year, to think about the visuals, to think about the name, to think about the philosophy. Everything is ready, but for the moment, as I told you before, I just need to get all the things that I was working on, with the upcoming records, especially, with the collaboration with new collaboration with ILO, with the Carl Cox and Rainier remix, which is coming also in May. And there is also upcoming collaborations that I can't talk at the moment because it's not finalized, but really huge stuff. And when everything will be out, I think after the summer, I will be able, to think about the launch of the label. Really looking forward this. It's gonna be like achievement.
Yes, not that you haven't achieved 100 other things this year.
But it's gonna be more personal, and I will express myself a little bit more also. Yes. But I'm lucky that all the labels trust in my sound, and let me do what I like. But with my label, it's going to be a little bit more personal, yeah.
For sure, that's understandable. We're really excited for that, and we hope it does happen this year sometime. It's been great really talking to you. It's like...
Me too.
My watch is like dead at this point. It's past 2 a.m. It's past everyone's bedtime. Thanks again. This was a great show. We're so excited to see what else you're going to have, what other music is going to come, what else you're going to do. Is there anything you want to promote or tell people about, or
just want to say thank you to all the people who listen to my music at the moment. Thank you so much for having me, and I really hope to see you again soon.
Of course.
And can't wait to share you all the new stuff that I have.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.
Awesome. Thank you.
That was our new friend, Space 92. It was a truly enlightening conversation. It's really fun speaking with someone touring so heavily and reflecting on the cultures they're interacting with, despite how fast everything is moving for them. Understanding more of the nuances and differences between the techno scenes, like Europe speeding up while South America still keeps it groovy and slow. From my experience, South America keeps it pretty sexy, and in the Americas, it's the 126, 130 BPM area. But depending where you are, like in Canada, breakbeat is really, really big, like in Toronto. So again, it's speeding up here. Space 92 also shed some light on why there's a sudden interest by these big festivals to run techno stages. And some of his perspective on social media's hand in techno's boom was also really interesting. I hadn't thought of that, but it checks out because the scene completely changed during the pandemic. It just exponentially grew so quickly. And the only explanation that seems plausible, considering we were all in lockdown, is social media, TikTok, these niches being pushed by the algorithm, accelerating that growth. And on where his music will go, again, interesting to hear his thoughts on that. I think in sort of non-mainstream, underground techno, what you will, when artists hit the mainstream jackpot, if you want to call it that, they sometimes get shunned by the scene, and sometimes for real reason, but not something I'll get into. But it's humbling to hear Space's take on how he simply doesn't know where the music is headed. He's going into this techno world, doing his thing, making what he wants to make, but where it lands him is not really in his control and not something he's really thinking about. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts on the conversation were. Please share them. Thanks for listening.